Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sportsbook Confidential. My name is John Sullivan, and I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. And this little show here is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. And today we're going to do a short and sweet show. We're going to talk about the football games this weekend. We got the AFC and the NFC championship. And I'm also going to spend a little bit of time on the NHL schedule for Friday night. We've got 8 games in hockey, and we might find a little value there. So we'll look at the odds and my models and see what's what. But before we do any of that, let's do what we always do and start by updating my bankroll. Oh, excuse me. There we go. And we did not have a winning week. Started with a bankroll of $411, and on Friday night we had the St. Louis Blues money line. They lost 8-0 to the Colorado Avalanche, playing back-to-back. Well, not back-to-back days, but back-to-back games in Colorado. Minus $14 to the bankroll. Excuse me. And then we had the Chiefs under 57.5, and that was a winner, and that's plus $13 to the bankroll. Of course, the Chiefs avoided a loss to the Browns, 22-17. And we got a +1 in parentheses there because that beat the closing line of 56 flat. So, and then we had the Saints over 51.5, and that was a loser for us. Drew Brees threw 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, and Tampa Bay wisely chose to run out the clock, then tried to score again. So we needed a field goal at least to get the over, but didn't happen. Minus $14 to the bankroll. +1, it beat the closing line of 52.5. So both of our football bets beat the closing line. Our new bankroll, if you do the math, I believe that's minus $15. So the new bankroll, $396. And dividing by 30, as we always do, we'll make our new bet size going forward $13 because we're trying to be selective sports bettors and not place too many wagers at any given time. And keeping track of our count for the football season, after this week in the Super Bowl, there's only 3 games left. And our count for football this year is up to an all-time high of plus 15. Obviously, we get a +1 if we beat the closing line, a -1 if we do not beat the closing line, and a 0 if we tie or get the closing line. So having a good season in finding value bets. The second half of the season, however, has not been kind to the bankroll. So hopefully we can dig a little bit out before the end of the season. So what we're going to do today, instead of talking about a sportsbook lesson, I had planned something on math, which I may do in between the championships and Super Bowl, talking about what level of math you need to be a good sports bettor. But we're going to pass on that today. And we're going to go right to the previews. I'm going to try to do things a little more in depth than I usually do. So let's start with the NFC Championship. And that's the early game on Sunday. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. And the current line is Packers minus 3.5. Total is 51.5. And that number in parentheses is my model, my predictive model. And I have the Packers as 4-point favorites, 4.02. And I have the total as 55.15. The weather forecast for the game, of course, this is an outdoor stadium in Green Bay. Cloudy and mid to high 20s. Is not expected to snow during the game. I think there's supposed to be flurries in the morning, but nothing of significant accumulation. So, obviously, this has been... A lot of people thought that Green Bay would be a good team, but they didn't expect them to be here. A lot of the Tampa Bay was the team that had the most money wagered on it to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season. Obviously, there have been some changes to Tampa Bay. At the beginning of the year, they didn't have Leonard Fournette. They didn't have Antonio Brown. There was uncertain if and when Godwin would be available. and how healthy Evans would be, just on their offensive side of the ball. Arians has always been known as a good defensive coach, so I've said in years past when they had Winston that their defense was undervalued because of Winston's constant turnovers gave the team bad field position to defend, and it affected how their defensive stats looked. But Tampa Bay seems to be going in the right direction here. They certainly have a lot of momentum. And I will say, before I review in-depth player-wise, that these teams did meet in the regular season and Tampa Bay won handily. However, Green Bay did not have Davante Adams. And Aaron Rodgers only had 5 interceptions all season long, and I believe in that game he had 2. It was a very uncharacteristic game for them. They also did not have Aaron Jones in that game. I'm sure in my mind that Aaron Rodgers remembers that game very well and might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I mean, that's narrative street there, but he has played, obviously, pretty much everybody thinks that Rodgers will be the MVP this year, and I think he will be ready to perform. So let's look at the notes I have here. Ronald Jones had a quad injury that he played through in the New Orleans game. And Leonard Fournette had a significant amount of carries in the New Orleans game and performed very well, I might add. So it will be interesting to see the kind of split that these two running backs get coming up in this game. I don't really consider either one of them to be tremendous pass-catching threats. So we'll see how much plays are designed for them to be an option in the passing game. So you have the three main wide receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown, which I misspelled there, are all questionable. Brown being the least likely to play. The other two I expect to play. However, are they all 100%? I would say perhaps none of them are 100%, but I would say that Evans and Godwin are probably 80 to 90%. So you would expect them to be ready to perform. Antonio Brown's a big question mark here. It would be interesting to see how many touches he gets early in the game. If he ends up being more of a decoy, if he does play, he's a game-time decision according to the coach. And Gronk is more involved. Obviously, Gronkowski and Brady have played together for many, many years. Gronkowski ran more pass routes in the last game against New Orleans than he had all season. I feel like this is the time of the year where they're going to unleash that combination. He was used sparingly during the regular season, and I don't know if that is designed to save on the wear and tear of Gronk, and now they're going to unleash him, for a couple of games because it'll all be over after this week and the next game. So expect him to get a lot more looks. Cameron Brate maybe will be the decoy as opposed to Gronk. And the corners for Tampa Bay have been struggling with some injuries. And this is important because of who they're facing in Aaron Rodgers. And obviously Davante Adams, Lazar, and Valdez-Scantling, all legitimate threats with Rodgers at quarterback. So the corners are going to play the under and the short routes. So it will be interesting to see if we get down and outs where Rodgers seems to like to throw slants and over the middle more often and deep balls. If they go that route, that route is usually what the tight end gets in the Green Bay offense. So if you see the wide receivers running these routes, that means they're going to try to pick on the cornerbacks. Now, on the Green Bay side, I have been very impressed with considering the injuries that Green Bay has in the offensive line, is how well they've performed. And they've been able to run the ball. They've been able to protect Rodgers. Three of their starters are their season opening starters are out, and they are performing very well. And I have here running back by committee. All three of these running backs are questionable. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and is it Jerome Williams? I forget his first name. They're all going to play, but the big question is how much. They'll probably all share the load, and whoever seems to be having the most success is probably going to get the most touches. Obviously, if Green Bay gets down in this game, they will go right to the passing game primarily. Even though the game is going to be cold, the weather is not going to be that bad. I think that there's going to be significant scoring in this game. The Green Bay defense is fairly healthy. It will take either an injury or obviously both of these teams are very good in the turnover department. Green Bay much better than Tampa Bay's offense, but Tampa Bay's defense has been very good with takeaways. So any and all turnovers are going to obviously be significant in this game. It will be, it'll be interesting to see how much I think, like, to protect Brady, that Tampa Bay will try to run more, but that run pass balance. Green Bay is a team that tends to run more when they're ahead. Tampa Bay is a team that seems to want to run more often than throw. They want to do play action. It will be interesting to see what the game plan is. I really like Green Bay at home. It's a really tough place for anybody to play. I am not significantly worried about Tom Brady playing in a cold weather game. I'm more concerned about some of the other players, playing in a cold weather game, like Evans and Godwin. Obviously, Antonio Brown played in Pittsburgh. Gronk played in New England. We know that. So, there are some players that are just not used to playing in those types of situations. So, even though I don't think the weather will be that bad, I really like Green Bay here. Of course, I'm partial a little bit because I have a Green Bay future, but this, all things considered, between the model and the personnel injuries, I like Green Bay here, but there's not huge value in betting on this game. The model leans under here, but because the weather is not going to be that bad, I don't even know if I like that. I'm sorry, the model leans over. So, yeah, I do like the over a little bit, but maybe under 51 there. So let's move on to the AFC Championship, which is the later game, which will be a nighttime game by the time it's over. It starts around 5:30 local time in Kansas City. Bills at the Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs -3, totals 54. My model says Chiefs -1.77, 54.48. The weather forecast, snow mid to high 30s. So it's going to be a little bit warmer in Kansas City, but it's going to be a snow game. There's supposed to be consistent snow throughout this game. Now, whether or not it's accumulations to really affect the game, I'm not sure at this point. But it will be a snow game. And both of these teams have played in snow, so that's not really going to be an issue for the preparedness of these teams. So let's start with Buffalo. And this game is going to be of huge interest to the local community. A lot of Bills fans here, of course, in upstate New York. Buffalo's healthy at the right time. Of the 4 teams remaining in the playoffs, the Bills are the healthiest by far. You've got Cole Beasley and Gabe Davis. Some supplementary wide receivers are questionable, but other than that, this team is pretty healthy going into this game, and that's a great sign. They certainly are feeling it. They only had 3 losses on the season, and one was on a Hail Mary. They lost to the Chiefs by 7 points at home, and they got housed by the Titans earlier in the year, but that was kind of a one-off, I think. They're obviously playing at another level right now. And I have Tyler Bass big stage here. Tyler Bass is the kicker for the Bills. He's been great this year. Big stage for him. And, it gives me flashbacks to Scott Norwood, a player that had a great regular season, and all of a sudden they need a big kick from him in a really tough situation. And I don't know. I hope it doesn't come down to that. I really don't. I would feel for him. Those are the kind of situations where if you miss it can ruin your career. I don't want that to happen to him. But given the comparison of the kickers in this game, it's going to be, he's obviously less experienced. On the Kansas City side, I have Mahomes in caps, and obviously, for those of you that didn't watch last week, Patrick Mahomes left the game, went into concussion protocol. He did not return. He is in limited practice this week. My understanding is that he should clear concussion protocol and play on Sunday. I have worth at least 3, and what that means is if Mahomes doesn't play for whatever reason, that's worth at least 3 points to the spread. What Vegas, if Mahomes did not play, they would probably make Buffalo a favorite, but it would be at least a pick 'em, if not Buffalo -2, in my opinion. And if you think that for some reason Mahomes might not play the whole game or split time with Henne or not play at all, you should be loading up on the Bills right now because you're getting at least 3 points more. You're getting Bills +3. You're getting at least 3 points more than you should be getting. So obviously that is a huge story, and we continue to follow it as the week goes on. He has not officially cleared concussion protocol yet, but I expect that he will. And, the the TV ratings are going to be huge for this game, and they do not want him out. But of course, they don't want to risk his health either because he's worth $500 million. That's how much Kansas City is paying him over 10 years, $500 million. So your top 2 running backs, Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, are both questionable. Bell was just added to the injury report, which was surprising to me. I didn't think he was 100%, but this concerns me for the Chiefs. These guys will probably both play and give it their all. Once again, you're guessing how are these guys 100%? Are they 80%? Where do you think they're going to be in this game? If you noticed last week, Tyreek Hill got a couple of touches running the ball, and I expect more of that from Mahomes. If Hill is catching screen passes and running jet sweeps early in this game, that screams to me that these other running backs are nowhere near where they're supposed to be. If Helaire comes out and runs the ball 3 times in the first series and you see him go for 8, 10, 12 yards, they're going to give him the rock a lot in this game. So that's something to think about. And then finally, can secondary shut down Diggs? And this is, I think, the key to victory for Kansas City. If you see Stephon Diggs getting touches in the first half, that's probably bad news for Kansas City. if they can shut down Diggs, it's going to force them to throw the ball to other receivers, John Brown, Gabe Davis, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, Knox being the only receiver with significant size, or it's going to force them to run the ball, which, in my opinion, is Buffalo's weakness right now, is running the ball. When they are ahead, they can kind of open up their playbook, and the running game fits in to all their other plays, their passing plays, and so we'll have to see. I would like to see Josh Allen run the ball a little more. You don't want to risk injury to Josh Allen because your chances of winning a Super Bowl go out the window with him. But I would like to see some more design runs, not just in the red zone for Josh Allen. And I don't want it to be broken plays. I mean, Mahomes has done that as well. He's created something out of nothing, either through his legs or his arm. And obviously Brian Daboll is a very coveted offensive coordinator that he's interviewed for several head coaching jobs. I hope he has something special planned for this game. Just like Gronk is going to be used more in Tampa Bay, I expect Josh Allen to be used more with his feet with Buffalo. So as far as this game goes, I think you got to take the Bills +3, but I also like the under here because of the weather. The Bills' defense is healthy. The Chiefs' offense has some question marks, obviously, with Mahomes, with the running backs. So everything points to the under in this game. But if you need a side, I would say the Bills +3. It's really up in the air. This is definitely one of those games that's incomplete information. And we just have to make our best guess going forward. So that's how we feel about the two championship games on Sunday. And I hope they're exciting and competitive and not snooze fests. So we'll see what happens. So let's move on to the Friday in NHL. And we got 8 games. And I'm not going to go too in-depth on everything today because I haven't had time to look over the announced goalies and everything. But I did run the model numbers this morning just to give you an idea of where I think these teams are at. And so we're going to start with the Sabres at the Capitals. Sabres and Capitals split a series. The Capitals won 2 games against the Sabres in Buffalo, and now they're playing 2 games in Washington. Capitals at home getting plus money really surprises me here. The Sabres have only won 1 game so far. The Caps lost 2 games in extra time and have won 2 against the Sabres. So you have to like the Caps here. My model has them as 0.79 goal favorites. Rangers +125 at Penguins -148. I think early in the season the Penguins are going to be get very heavy odds. The Rangers and the Penguins are pretty close here. Penguins favored by 0.35 goals. Rangers getting +125. Those are pretty good odds for the Rangers. I feel like they have equal goaltending. And Crosby and Malkin are just getting older in Letang. The Rangers are the up-and-coming team here. Oilers at the Maple Leafs, +108 for the Oilers, -127 for the Maple Leafs. I have the Maple Leafs as 0.73 goal favorites. This is a typical regular season Maple Leafs game. They'll do well in the regular season. It's when they get to the playoffs that you get to worry. It's the defense and the goaltending for the Maple Leafs that's always been the issue. They roll 3 great scoring lines. That's not the issue. The Oilers obviously have Draisaitl and McDavid that play together, and they will be disruptive. But once you get past them, what do you have left? Although I do admit that the Oiler defense is getting better, and I also think the Oilers don't have the goaltending to go anywhere in the playoffs. The Red Wings at the Blackhawks. The Wings have been a little, I want to say disruptive, I guess. They're expected to be a basement dweller again, and they've had a couple of wins. Bobby Ryan has been a very good addition to that team. The Blackhawks are definitely in disarray right now. Delia and Malcolm Subban are the goaltenders, and neither has really stood out. I actually have the Wings here as a slight favorite, so that's the side I would take in this game. And we'll see if they can string another win together. The Sharks at the Wild, plus 143 for the Sharks, minus 165 for the Wild. I have the Wild as 0.24 favorites, but I really think they are the better team here. They've got a really exciting rookie on their top line. His name begins with a K, and it escapes me at the moment. But I feel like the Wild will be a playoff team, and I don't know if they have the tools to go all the way, but I like them here today. Predators at the Stars. This game really has me shaking my head. Stars minus 112 at home. Preds minus 104. I have the Stars as 0.31 favorites. This is a team that went to the Stanley Cup final last year. They are the better team in all phases of the game here. Obviously, during the regular season, you have bad days. So the Stars at minus 112, I feel like is something you should really consider here. The Preds are almost in a rebuilding mode. They have Yuzi Saros and Pekka Rinne, and they are going to need new life in their goaltending, and they are going to have to rebuild pretty much all of their skating, their defensive core, and their scoring. Philip Forsberg is a great player. Arvidsson is a good player, but their Stanley Cup window has gone, and they're kind of rebuilding to get back into that Stanley Cup window again. And then you've got Vegas at the Coyotes. Arizona was a very competitive underdog last year. They had Taylor Hall, they had Phil Kessel, they had some good young players. But Kessel's a year older. Taylor Hall is no longer there. And I think that Darcy Kemper was their standout goalie last year, and I think they're going to fall a little flat this season. And Vegas, although I don't think they were as good as they were last year, will still be the number one or number two team in this division. I really like Vegas here. As a matter of fact, I have them favored by 1.67 goals. 5.9 is the total there. It's going to be a long year for the Coyotes, I think. And then finally, Avalanche, who is actually the Stanley Cup favorite at the moment, minus 205 at the Ducks, plus 175. I have the Avalanche favored by 1.22 goals, 5.07. The Ducks have John Gibson, who's an excellent goalie, but they don't have much else. They have a couple of good they have lots of good kids in the pipeline, but they only have one or two at the NHL level. But they do play a style of hockey that generates a lot of one-goal games. So it's very difficult to take that team, to take a team minus 1.5 against the Ducks. And Colorado is a team that's loaded with talent. And again, Stanley Cup favorite at the moment. Obviously, to win, they're heavily favored to win this game, but I couldn't take them on the puck line. So that's a quick rundown of today's games. And now that I've done that, let's give you my picks, and then we'll wrap up for this week. So for football, I'm only taking one play, and that's the Bills and the Chiefs under 54, minus 110. I feel like this game, the snow, the question marks with Mahomes, the Bills' defense being healthy really for the first time this season, leads me to believe that it's going to go under. And I think that when they previously played, it was like 23-17 or something like that. It was a lower scoring game. It was not a huge scoring game. So I like that under. I'm going to take the Dallas Stars money line. I found it at minus 111. Stanley Cup final team playing at home against a rebuilding team. I don't see how you don't take that. And then I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights minus 1.5 and pick on the poor Arizona Coyotes at plus 157. So I got 2 hockey plays tonight and then the football game on Sunday. Stay warm, enjoy the nice winter weather we're having, and enjoy the football game on Sunday. Don't eat too many chicken wings. And we'll be back with another episode next week. There won't be any football next week, so we'll think of a good sportsbook lesson for you. I'm going to play the outro music. Thank you for tuning in and giving me all those views, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.